الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أما بعد, we will continue our class with the sisters, going over the book الأجوبة الوداعية على الأسئلة النسائية, answers of Sheikh Muqbil bin Hadi al-Wadi'i rahimahullah on questions by the women or from the women. And as we have done in the past, we will take a few questions bi'idhnillahi ta'ala from our noble sisters. And as a reminder, if you have questions, then you can head on over to the Telegram channel or the Telegram group by Sunnah Seen, by the brothers in Sunnah Seen, or the sisters running this group at Sunnah Seen in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Allah reward them with good. So you can post your questions there and they collect them and send them to us to be answered from the words of the people of knowledge bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And so we have a couple of questions to answer bi'idhnillahi ta'ala from the sisters. So one of them was the ruling on taking pills to stop menses for Umrah, Hajj or Ramadan. The people of knowledge have mentioned Sheikh bin Baz rahimahullah, and other than him from the people of knowledge, they say there is no harm. There is no harm in a woman taking pills to stop her menses in order to perform Hajj or Umrah, and especially Hajj and Umrah, because depending on her travel schedule and everything and the group that she is with, it might be a burden, and it might be a difficulty for her. It might cause a difficulty for her if she was to be on her menses and she had to wait to perform certain activities in Hajj or Umrah. So in that case, the people of knowledge, they said that there is no harm bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And likewise for Ramadan, if she wants to fast with the people, Sheikh bin Baz rahimahullah, he said there is no harm bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And the matter of Ramadan is easier, of course, because she could making up days from Ramadan afterwards is not a difficult matter. Alhamdulillah, she has the entire year to make up those days, and she can choose days that are shorter. She can make up some of her days during the winter when the days are shorter bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. It is something that is easy bi'idhnillahi ta'ala to make up. So it is not as needed, if you will, for Ramadan. However, if the woman chooses to do so bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, there is no harm, with the condition that taking such pills does not cause any health issues. Is not a health concern for the woman. So she should consult with her doctor, make sure that she is okay, that it is okay for her to take them. And if a trustworthy doctor tells her that it is okay and that inshallah there is no harm and that they do not cause any health issues, then bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, that is permissible. Now, another sister, she asked, does a woman have to seek her husband's permission before she gives sadaqat, before she gives charities? First of all, we say to the sister, may Allah bless her and protect her, preserve her, and all of our brothers and sisters, if she is referring to obligatory sadaqat, such as she has gold, she has wealth, she has money, and she has to give zakat al-mal, then that is an obligation upon her, meaning that she should go ahead and do it. She should do it. And whether or not she must ask her husband, we say the people of knowledge have differed on this, meaning asking permission from the husband before giving sadaqat. The people of knowledge have differed on this because of the hadith that the Messenger ﷺ mentioned that a woman must seek permission from her husband before giving sadaqat. Some of the people of knowledge, they say therefore it is an obligation. Other people of knowledge, they've looked at other ahadith, such as when the Messenger ﷺ, he spoke to the women and advised the women, and then he reminded them of giving sadaqat, of giving charities, and the women started taking off some of their gold, some of the gold jewelry that they were wearing, and they put them for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as sadaqat. The people of now, they said that they did not seek permission of their husbands, and they say this is an evidence that it is permissible for a woman to give sadaqat without permission from her husband. Others, and they said regarding the first hadith that was mentioned, they said that this is from good companionship and good respect, showing good respect and being good towards one's husband is to seek his permission before giving sadaqat. Others, they say, the other group of scholars, they say no, rather the women from the companions, may Allah be pleased with them, that they were giving away from their jewelry, and that was because they knew, some of the people of Najd, they say they knew that their husbands approve of this. They say that they knew that their husbands approve of this. Now, and this is specifically, all of that discussion is specifically regarding the women giving from their own wealth. This is regarding the women giving from their own wealth, not from their husband's wealth. Now, and the sister, in her question, she did not specify if this was regarding her own wealth or giving charity donations from her husband's wealth, because there's a difference. Barakallahu fikum. There's a difference. So the stronger opinion regarding the women giving from their own wealth, donating and giving sadaqat from their own wealth, we say it is better that they seek permission from their husbands, without a doubt. This way the woman would be both giving the charities and giving donations and giving sadaqat for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as well as fulfilling the command of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam that the woman does not give sadaqat without permission of her husband. And this way, this is the safer opinion and the better opinion, that she should seek permission from her husband. Wallahu alam. Now, if she is giving from her husband's wealth, if she's giving sadaqat from her husband's wealth, then that depends as well. If he gives her general permission, meaning that she asks him, is it okay? Am I allowed to give some sadaqat from your wealth? Then, barakallahu fiki, and he says, yes, you can, then you are allowed to. Or if you know from his situation that he does not mind, and especially this is the case if it is a small amount. So, for example, he gives you some money to buy things for the house, to buy things that you need. So we should pay attention to the fact that if he gives you, this is the case with a lot of the sisters, that their husbands, for example, they give them money and tell them this is, for example, every month, every week, every 2 weeks, whatever it is, until they tell them this is to buy things for the house, to buy if we need groceries, if we need things for the house, or if you need things for yourself, such as clothes, and other than that, because it is upon the husband to buy these things, meaning the spending is an obligation upon the husband in regards to these things. However, when he gives her the money for these types of things, this is not her money. The money that she takes is not her money, and rather this is money that is her husband's, but she is trusted with it. This is a trust that she has, meaning that she's supposed to spend it on the things that are necessary. Yani that her husband, he gave her the money to buy things that are necessary, and therefore that's how she should deal with them. And she should not go and spend them, for example, spend them on things that are not necessary unless her husband tells her that it is okay. This is one thing to understand. Now, in regards to giving sadaqat from them, if it is something that she knows her husband approves of, then inshallah there's no harm. Similar, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentioned if someone has a khadim, a servant, and he does so, meaning he spends from the money that he is trusted with, he receives the reward, as well as the person who owns the money. And likewise, the woman spending from her husband's wealth for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, donating or giving sadaqat from her husband's wealth, she receives the reward and her husband receives an equal reward, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. However, the people of knowledge, they say that it should be limited to what she knows that her husband approves of. For example, as we mentioned, if her husband, he gives her a certain amount and he tells her this is wealth for, or this is money to buy things for the house, to buy groceries, if you need to buy something, and he is at work and she needs to buy something, for example, she's able to. And likewise, if she needs some clothes or some things for herself, so he gives her that money. Now this is a trust that she has. She sees that there is someone needs money, for example. Sister, she asks her for money. If it is a small amount that she knows her husband, it's not going to affect her husband, it's not going to bother her husband. He gave her, for example, $200, told her to buy things for the house. And she sees someone who needs money, who's asking for money. She knows a sister who's in need of some money, and she gives her $2, $5, $10. Inshallah, this is a small amount. This is a small enough an amount where it does not affect her ability to buy things for the house from the money that her husband gave her. This is unlike, for example, that she sees that someone is in need of money and she goes and gives him or gives her the entire amount that her husband gave her to buy things for the house. That is not permissible, because you're putting a burden. In that case, you're putting a burden on your husband. And your husband, he gave you this money to spend for household items, for food, for groceries, for your clothes, not to give in sadaqat. Of course, this is not to discourage anyone from giving sadaqat, but a woman should be careful not to put a burden on her husband and by way of spending more than he is able to afford. So that depends on the situation, unless she knows that he has more and he's okay with it. So for example, he gives her the money, same amount, and he tells her, for example, that you can buy things, you can give them in sadaqat, it's up to you, just keep them with you, there's no problem. Then in that case, she's allowed to, if he gives her permission, then inshallah she's allowed to give from this money as sadaqat. Naam, wallahu alam. And of course, we should remind the sisters of a mistake that some sisters fall into, which is that they take, for example, from their husband's money or from the household items, and they might give them to their relatives, not as lending them, for example, or giving them a small amount that her husband approves of. Some sisters, they fall into this mistake, and I have been asked about this. Some sisters, for example, they see that their parents, for example, they need something and they have it in their household, and so they go and give it to they give that item to their parents, and that item she's trusted with it, whether it's money or things in the house, she's trusted with them. She's not allowed to take them and give them to her parents without permission from her husband, especially if it is things that they need. Because what ends up happening is that the husband has to buy the same item again. Where did you go with it? Oh, I gave it to my parents. This is not proper. This is not correct. Naam, barakallahu feekum. So we will go back to the book. So a sister asked, حديث سلمة قالت قلت يا رسول الله إني امرأة أشد ضفر رأسي أفأنقضه لغسل الجنابة؟ قال لا، إنما يكفيك أن تحثي على رأسك 3 حثيات كما في بلوغ المرام، وعزاه إلى مسلم، وإن صح فما معناه؟ وهل يجب أن يصل الماء إلى أصول البشرة؟ وحديث أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه قال كما في بلوغ المرام أيضا فإن تحت كل شعرة جنابة فاغسلوا الشعر وأنقوا البشر. ثم قال رواه أبو داود والترمذي وضعفاه. ما معناه إن صح حديث أبي هريرة؟ وما الجمع بينه وبين حديث أم سلمة المتقدم؟ وكيف تعمل المرأة بشعر رأسها وهل تنقضه أم لا? So this is an important question from a sister that was asked to Sheikh Muqbil al-Wadi'i rahimahullah ta'ala. She was asked, or she asked regarding women who have braids, who have done or who have braided their hair, who have braided their hair. Is she supposed to undo the braid in her hair to take a bath for janaba, for the major state of impurity? Is she supposed to do so? Because there is a hadith that Salama radiallahu anha, she asked the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam that she ties her hair in a braid, and does she have to undo it when she takes a bath for janaba, for the major state of impurity? And the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said no, it would be sufficient for you to pour water 3 times on your head. And in another hadith, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or the other hadith, the narration or the hadith, it says that the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, underneath every hair there's a janaba, there's a major state of impurity. So wash the hair and go all the way to your skin or to your scalp. So the questioner, she asked, how do we reconcile between them, and what is a woman supposed to do when she takes a bath? If she has done her hair in a braid, she put her hair in a braid. And the Shaykh rahimahullah said, أما شعر الرأس في الغسل في الجنابة فيجزئ أن تفيض الماء على رأسها وإذا أفاضت الماء على رأسها فإنه يصل إلى البشرة. So he said, as for taking a bath from the major state of impurity, it is sufficient for her to pour water on her head. And if she does pour water on her head, then the water reaches the scalp and the skin. قال وفي الحيضة يندب لها أن تنقض شعر رأسها جمعا بين هذا حديث وحديث آخر أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لعائشة انقضي شعر رأسك واغتسلي في الحج بهذا المعنى، فالجمع أن الأمر بالنقض للندب كما في سبل السلام. So this is one opinion of the people of knowledge, and that when taking a bath after the menses, after the woman finishes her menses, when she takes a bath, that she should undo her braid, and this is recommended. The people of knowledge, they said this is recommended, as the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said to Aisha radiyallahu anha in Hajj, while performing Hajj, he said to her, undo the braid of your head or your hair and then take a bath. So some of the people of knowledge, such as As-San'ani rahimahullah, in his book Subul al-Salam, he said the reconciliation between the ahadith is that undoing the braid is a recommendation and not an obligation. قال الشيخ, the Shaykh rahimahullah said, أما حديث بل الشعر وأنقل البشر فإن تحت كل شعرة جنابة فهو حديث ضعيف لا يثبت عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فلا يعارض ما تقدم. He said, as for the hadith, wash the hair and make sure that the water reaches the scalp and the head and the skin under the hair. For underneath every hair there is a form of janaba, there is a major state of impurity. He said this is a weak hadith that is not authentic, and it is not authentic from the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it is not used as a contradiction, or that that there is any contradiction between this hadith and what was mentioned before. Now, وهذا هو القول الراجح والله أعلم. This is a stronger opinion, and Allah knows best. نكتفي بهذا المقدار. This is sufficient, and we'll continue in the next class if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows us to. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين.